Today we're going to talk about the racing heart, the anxiety, and the pounding heart when doing a ketogenic carnivore diet or just anything low carb. Welcome everyone to my very humble channel where I cannot wait to get outside because it is beautiful. But let's get right on into this whole heart issue. This is a very important video because if you do not pay attention to your minerals, especially doing carnivore or ketogenic diets for the long term, you can actually damage your heart because it's just not getting enough oxygen. We need our minerals. We need sodium, especially potassium, magnesium when doing low carb. Yesterday, my contractor builder did not show up. His crew did, but he didn't. So they stayed only half day. And today I asked him, he was back. I said, "What's going on?" And he said, I had a really bad case of vertigo and I don't want to be up high while, and falling off this platform that they've made to put up these windows that are 26 feet high in the air. And I said, "Okay, it's warm now. Are you drinking enough water?" "I drink water all day long." And I said, "Well, where is it now?" That's number one. The other thing I said was, "Are you consuming enough salt or too much salt?" He goes, "Oh, I barely use any salt." And I said, "Bingo, that's causing the vertigo." He's like, "How?" I explained to him that you need to balance sodium with potassium because if you're having, I said, "Are you on potassium?" He said, "Yeah, I take potassium." If you're having too much potassium, it will lower the sodium. If you're having too much sodium, your body will try to hold on to sodium if you don't eat enough salt. It's a very weird balance. So now your potassium's up, your body's trying to hold on to sodium. The cells are dehydrating, or the cells cannot communicate rather. If you have high sodium, it will cancel out potassium. And either high or low of sodium or potassium, you have the same symptoms, which are heart palps, nausea, sometimes diarrhea, racing heart, vertigo. These are the symptoms. Now, he's not doing low carb. This is just a human reaction to not balancing your electrolytes, which anything that involves cutting out your carbohydrates, you are at risk for this to happen, especially in the summer. So when other gurus say that it's perfect to do these diets, or people, fasting gurus or carnivore or ketogenic, they're not being honest with you, or they are ill-informed about your electrolytes. And things like Keto Chow, Dr. Berg's cocktail, which is the better one, Redmond's Real Salt, which is a better one, Element, which is total garbage, and Keto Chow, total garbage, because they're using cheaper minerals like potassium chloride, which is quite dangerous to your kidneys. That's why they only give you little, small, tiny dose. And people don't know this, and so they will overdose trying to feel better. You only take what you need. You only take in the sodium, potassium, magnesium for what you need, and the type is very important. The symptoms that he had, the contractor of my house build, is what a lot of you are experiencing, and some don't experience it at first. I didn't feel anything for 5 years. But when my electrolyte started to tank, it was a clusterfuck of a nightmare. So my rib locked up. I mean, I'd be at the gym doing crunches, like weird rib locking up. Heart palps, didn't get that. Nausea, didn't get that. Headaches, nausea, heart palps, racing heart, high heart rate. A lot of you guys I think you're having a heart attack or having anxiety when your minerals are off. You also have to consider that a lot of you are coming from the leaky gut world. So even though you're taking your electrolytes, you may not be absorbing them. So we have to look at that as well. And the more cortisol that you experience, the more salt you lose, and everything's a balance. Now, some people think it's super complicated, but it's not. The only reason why you might feel that it's complicated to balance your electrolytes is because you're busy. You're so busy that you can't sit down and take a pen and paper and start journaling, or computer, phone, and start to journal your symptoms. You need to start at 2 liters of water a day. And I don't mean just drinking it all at once. I do a liter in the morning and then I go 5 hours in the afternoon without drinking anything because you are still dehydrating yourself. It has to be like a drip throughout the day. Even if you drink a lot, you still have to drip it the rest of the day. Sometimes you're losing more fluid than you're getting in, and the minerals help these cells hold on to fluid or retain fluid so they can function. They can contract, they can signal each other. You need your sodium, potassium, magnesium, salt, avocados. Yes, carnivore people, you heard me. Oysters, some seafood is high, shellfish are high in potassium. I think it's very confusing that gurus will say eat carnivore and then drink coffee. And that's a double whammy with losing fluid. And then those symptoms come up like heart palps and racing heart and chest pain, and people think they're having a heart attack, or people think they're going through anxiety when really their minerals are off. If you're out on a hot day, I'm about to get outside again and check out what the builders are doing, and you start sweating and you are not eating carbs, so you're eating nothing that helps you hold on to water within the cells, then you're just losing fluid rapidly. And that's when those symptoms arise, and people are not making those, they're not connecting the dots. Now, if you did keto or carnivore 10 years and you didn't balance your electrolytes, you are at risk for heart problems, damaging the heart without enough magnesium. It's a real thing. And a lot of people get confused on what kind of potassium. There's potassium citrate and bicarbonate and glycinate and chloride and citrate. You have to find the one that is the safest, which is not chloride. And you have to find the one that you don't have a histamine response to, because some people have a histamine response to potassium citrate. Although it's the more safe type of potassium, then you would go down if you did, let's say, sodium or potassium rather bicarbonate. You would maybe not go as high as 400 milligrams, but rather 2. And then you might incorporate some avocado or a meat broth if you don't have a histamine. Yes, a histamine response to the bacteria growing in the broth. And then bone broth is loaded with oxalates, unfortunately, and glutamate, which is a neurotoxin, because of the leaves. The oxalate rich, and the oxalates or oxalic acid, it leaches into the water when you slow cook it, and then you drink the water. Not smart. Once you learn these things, like what type of potassium you can tolerate, or if you can just ride the line of carnivore and not be so dogmatic, like culty zealot, no, I've got to be strict, I can't have one plant in. If you react to avocados, that's another thing. If you're reacting to certain plants, because some plants will have at least like 70 to 80 milligrams of potassium per cup, and you might need as much as possible to balance that with your sodium, which is between 4 and 6 grams. And they have to balance. I would say that the highest in potassium you would get is 1200, but we want to get that from food. Some people do fine on about 600 milligrams of potassium coming from food. It's easier to hit 400 to 600 milligrams from food without even having to touch a supplement, which is not always quality control. I hope this helps. Comment below if you have experienced dry mouth, dry skin, heart palps, racing heart, ribs locking up, calves locking up, and knowing the difference between day cramps and night cramps. Day is a mixture between magnesium, potassium deficiency, and of course not drinking enough. And then night is largely magnesium. Then that's a whole other subject, what type of magnesium. There's even more types of magnesium, and that really depends on the person and the symptomology. Comment below. I'm about to get out there into the beautiful world of house building land, and soon I will be able to finish the challenge. It's been sort of a start-stop. I'm just doing too much with the animals and a new puppy that I found under my camper, and building this house, and then finding a new builder, and then helping my mom transition through a lot of legal stuff. And it's on me, a lot of it. So it sort of stops you in your tracks. The builders come at 6 in the morning. I'm working on editing videos at midnight. Yeah, I'm not even taking my own advice right now. So that's why I'm like, don't believe all the gurus when they're like, I'm perfect, because it's not true. Nobody's perfect. Yeah, and I'm out. Comment below. I'm curious to hear if you guys have experienced some of these symptoms of nausea or diarrhea or racing heart, which comes from an electrolyte imbalance. Yeah, or water retention. That can happen too when you don't balance things, but that's a whole nother video on all the symptoms you get on a low-carb, ketogenic, or carnivore diet from not knowing how to balance your electrolyte. And it's pretty easy. Once you get it, you get it. Like I got it now. And the more you do this diet, these low-carb diets with no carbs over time, the more your body will figure it out when you keep that cortisol down, because that will jack up your electrolytes, cortisol, and most people are bathing in it. My Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. My website is stephanieperson.com if you need to book a consultation, because you guys will ask me about electrolytes in the comment section. I'm like, I need to talk to you. I don't know you at all. I mean, are you a builder right now sweating your bullocks off? Because if you are, we really need to get on those electrolytes. Do you work at a desk? I don't know. Do you have leaky gut? Are you losing minerals? Are you taking nuts, which will deplete yourself of magnesium, or coffee? I don't know. You're drinking coffee, which you're peeing out the minerals. There's a lot of little moving parts. Also, life is good. Life is hard, but it's good. Yeah. My course where I cover all 3 diets is through stephanieperson.com. My neighbor is going to do the weed whacker, the man who sold me this property, and I'm out. Yeah. Energy. At 56, I cannot believe I will be 57 soon. What a life. Y'all don't take it for granted. It goes by too fast. And stop listening to a bunch of stuff. Use your own analytical skills. And that could even include me.